So pause right there. Don't scroll. Don't try to fix anything and don't shrink your screen. It's just fine. This is not background noise. This is for you. You know that feeling you've had lately? That quiet ache that follows you from room to room? I mean, you show up for everybody and somehow you still feel like nobody sees you. You're doing the cooking, the cleaning, the checking in, and you're the one they call when something breaks. You're the one they call when someone's hurting or when something needs to get done. But when you finally sit down, no one is asking you, how are you really doing? I wonder why. And a part of you has started to wonder, maybe I really am invisible. Maybe this is just my life now. And if that's you, stay right here. That's not true, but stay right here because in this episode, I want you to feel something that you have not felt in a long time, obviously. I want you to feel seen, heard, felt, and I want you to feel worthy because you have always mattered. You have always been good enough. You are and have always been worthy, no matter how it feels. You see, you are not invisible, so I want you to forget about that. Hi, I'm Richard, and welcome to the Walk-In Transformation Podcast, where faith meets real life, and real life finally gets to breathe for a while. This is not a show where we pretend everything's all right. This is a conversation between you and me, and we're going to put the truth out there that you are always visible, that you've always been seen, and that you are not invisible. So, for the next few minutes, let this be your safe space. You don't have to perform here. You don't have to hold it together here. And you just get to be you. How does that feel? Breathe it in for a second. You just get to be you. Now, here's the lie that you've been living with. And let me ask you something. And I want you to answer me honestly from your heart. Have you ever been in a room full of people that you love and you still felt completely alone? I mean, you laugh at the right times, you show up in all the photos, you serve, you give, you do the things that are asked of you. But why is it that when you walk away, there's this quiet little voice that says, does anyone really see me? Or do they just see what it is that I do for them? Now, maybe you started to believe that what you feel doesn't really matter. And as long as everyone else is okay, you're okay. That's what you've been starting to tell yourself. And I know that you're not, and you know that you're not. You see, that's not you being strong. That's you starting to disappear slowly. And I know that feeling, not just as a coach, but as a person. So let me tell you a little bit about the first time that I disappeared. Interesting story here. I remember being around 8 years old, and the house was full of people, my family, but I still felt like a stranger in my own family, in my own home. Laughter was in one room. There were voices overlapping, plates clinking, and there I was in the middle of everything, feeling like a puzzle piece shoved in the wrong box, like I would never fit. Maybe you can identify with that. Well, at any rate, I had seen a TV show about babies being switched at birth, and I remember thinking to myself, yeah, that has to be it. Man, that's gotta be it. That's why I don't feel like I belong here. I must have ended up in the wrong family by being switched at birth. Now, that idea sunk its roots deep into me. So instead of being myself, I started to build a version of myself that I hoped would be easier for you to love. And I mean, I would sit alone sometimes with a dictionary for hours, just practicing new words over and over until they didn't feel foreign to me. I was trying to sound smarter, smoother, more acceptable. So I was creating, actually, a new little character that I hoped would finally earn me a seat at the table, at your table. Now, that was the first character that I ever developed and played. And I got pretty good at it, I have to say. Nothing to really be proud of, but I got so good that over time, I became an expert at what I like to call maskology. And that's the art of wearing a mask so well that no one can tell that it's a mask. Now, on the outside, I looked fine, but on the inside, I was lonely. I felt unseen, I felt unheard, and the worst part of it all is that I felt easily replaceable. That was one of my biggest fears. And if you're honest, you know what that feels like too, because I'm sure that you've built your own version of that character. Maybe you didn't use a dictionary, but I'm sure that you probably became the dependable one or the strong one or the always there one. But here's the danger about masks. If you wear a mask long enough, it becomes the default and you start to believe that it is who you really are. So I'm going to bring this a little bit closer to you, okay? Now, stay with me here. I want you to picture a younger version of yourself, and you're on a playground. There are kids running around, shouting, laughing, and all of that stuff. You're standing off to the side, pretending that you're okay being alone. But your heart is pounding, just hoping that someone will notice you. You're not okay. You're not fine. No one calls your name. So they start picking teams, and they form little circles and they keep playing. And you tell yourself, it's fine, I'm okay, but there's that little part of you that just keeps shrinking a little bit more every time a little kid runs past you with a laugh on their face. Now, fast forward to today. You're not on a playground anymore, but the story hasn't changed very much, has it? No, it really hasn't. So you're in a kitchen, or you're at your desk, or you're in a car, and you still feel like you're the one that's standing off to the side while life happens around you without you. And I want you to hear this as clearly as I say it. You were never meant to live on the outside or the sidelines of your own life. You're not invisible. You are not an accident. You are not too much or not enough. Now, the world may have mislabeled you. Pain may have misnamed you. But God has never once confused who you are, okay? He's never been confused about that, and he's never confused you with anyone else. Now, the Bible says in Psalms 139:14, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And I'm here to tell you that you are one of those works. You see, you're not a background character. You are the kind of person that God calls wonderfully made, even on the days that you feel unremarkable. Isn't that something? Well, that's not all. Here's something else. This is a promise in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5. Now that says, for he hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Now, people may overlook you. They may assume that you're okay because, well, you've gotten used to being the strong one and showing up as a strong one. They may depend on your presence while never asking about your pain and if you're feeling all right. But God has never once taken his eyes off you. No, not for 1 second. You see, he saw you on that playground. He sees you now at the kitchen sink or even at the steering wheel or in that bed that you were too tired to climb out of, so you had to roll out of it. Now, you have never been invisible to him. You cannot be invisible to him because, spoiler alert, you're not invisible. So here's where transformation really starts. Transformation doesn't begin when you're finally okay, when you finally fix yourself. Get rid of that idea. That's ridiculous. It begins the moment you tell the truth about how you feel. If transformation started once we had ourselves fixed, nobody would be living lives of transformation. So let's tell the truth right now. You're tired of pretending you're okay when you're not okay. You're tired of feeling like your only value is what you do for other people. You're tired of carrying the weight of what everyone else is expecting of you and then apologizing for having needs of your own. You don't have to apologize for anything. You see, you don't want to disappear. You want to be seen without having to perform for it. And here's the good news. You don't have to earn your visibility. You, just like everyone else, were born visible. You were created seen. So your life is not some side plot in someone else's story. Your life is a central story that God is still writing, and man, what a story he's writing. Woman, what a story he's writing. Now, Philippians 1:6 says, he who began a good work in you will carry it out to completion until the day of Christ. Now, that means God did not abandon the project that is called the amazing you. He did not lose interest. Come on. He didn't forget the blueprint. He created the blueprint. So how could he forget it? Now, the same God who started the work in you is still committed to finishing it, even when you feel unfinished, unseen, and undone. Now, here's a small but huge first step for you. Now, I don't want you to just hear this. I want you to live it in a small but real way today. It's not a test. It's not a performance. It's just a sacred practice that you can get into between you, your heart, and God. Before you go to bed tonight, I want you to grab a notebook or a piece of paper. Find a quiet moment, even if it's just a quiet place outside or if you have to sit in the car. Write down one part of yourself that you've hidden to keep other people comfortable. Just one, not your life story. Maybe it's your creativity. Maybe it's your dreams. Maybe it's your opinions. But let yourself write it out without judging it. Let it be raw, simple, unpolished. The real you deserves honesty more than a presentation. And when you're done, I want you to say this softly but clearly. God still sees that part of me. Even though I tried to hide it, He sees it and calls it good. Because it's true. Let those words settle into you. If your chest gets a little tight or your eyes get warm and filled with water, that's not weakness. That's recognition. That's God touching the part of you that thought it had to disappear in order to be loved. You see, the truth is that you're loved and you can't disappear. So I want you to come back with me for a second, okay? Come on back with me to that swing, to the playground. Now, this is the one where you stood off to the side, remember, telling yourself that you didn't mind being alone when you really, really did. Now, the one where your name wasn't called, where your presence didn't feel like it was requested. So, the most important thing that I think you really need to know is that this is the same playground where you convinced yourself that being invisible was safer than risking rejection. You see, nobody told you that being visible was safe. So you just assumed that being invisible was safer than being visible. It's not your fault. It's something that you learned to do at an early age, like so many of us did. Now picture yourself there again. The sounds, the air, the way your hands hung by your sides as you pretended to be fine. Now picture this. Me, I walk over to you. I kneel down so I'm eye level with you. And for the first time all day, maybe for the first time in years, someone really looks at you. Not at what you can do, not at how strong you pretend to be, just you. So I offer you my hand. No pressure, no performance, just presence. And I say, okay, come here. Let's go to the swing for a minute. Now, we start to walk over slowly, but you grab my hand and then you start running with me, dragging me over to the swing, and then you sit down. I give you a gentle push, nothing dramatic, just enough to get your feet off the ground. Now, in that small movement and in that small moment, that little sway of the swing, something inside you loosens. The tightness in your chest, it starts to ease. The pressure behind your eyes, it starts to soften. The heaviness that you have carried for years, well, it shifts a little bit. And because, listen, for the first time in a long time, you're not being useful. And that's what you're used to being, useful. But you're not being useful. You're not being strong. You're not being anything else other than just being held. So I move behind you and place my hands on the chains, not to push you, just to steady you. And I say quietly, I see you. I've always seen you. God sees you. He's always seen you. Now those words land kind of differently, don't they? They hit the part of you that spent decades waiting for someone to notice the weight that you hide. I know, and it's kind of hard to hold it in, but then this is important. Then I rest my hands gently, one of my hands, my left hand, gently between your shoulders, not to guide you, not to fix you, but just to let you know that you are not alone. You see, you've thought that you were alone all these years, and it wasn't true. Now that touch is just the kind of hug that you needed for years. That's the kind that says everything that you carried, you don't have to carry alone anymore. And as you sway on that swing, feeling the air brush your face, you realize something sacred. You were never really invisible. You were just unacknowledged. And that stops today. You see, something really strange happened too, and it took you by surprise and it caught me off guard. As you were swinging, one time you leaned your head back and you looked at me as you were going up in the air, and a laugh snuck out. And before you know it, you were laughing uncontrollably. And you didn't see me, but it brought a tear to my eye because I knew that you were returning to who you are. So where do you go from here? Well, I want you to take a slow, deep breath. I want you to feel your feet gently brushing the ground. I want you to feel the steadiness of the swing. I want you to feel the truth settling into your bones. What truth is that? It's the truth that you matter, that you are seen, that you are worthy, and that you have always been. And I'm going to continue to say that over and over again. You see, the world may not have said it, your family may not have shown it, your past may not have reflected it, but heaven has never once disagreed about you. Heaven has always known that those things were who you are, because you were created by the one who deposited that stuff in you. And believing something other than that is what has shaped the life that you're living right now. But the great news is that you have the ability to reshape it, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So, your story does not end with invisibility. It begins with recognition. And this moment right here, this is your reminder that God has been watching over the real you the entire time. You don't have to earn visibility. You don't have to fight for your worth. You don't have to prove your value, because you are already all of those things. All you have to do is just breathe and let God reintroduce you to yourself, the part of you that you have forgotten all these years. So this is your final action step, and this is about a visible tomorrow. Now, before tomorrow ends, I want you to take 5 quiet minutes and sit somewhere really still, in your car, in your bed, on the edge of the tub, anywhere. I want you to place your hand over your heart and say, God, finish what you started in me, because I'm done hiding. Then I want you to picture yourself on that swing again, not alone, not forgotten, not invisible, just loved, just seen, just held. I want you to just imagine that the breath of God is behind you and the breath of God is in front of you as you're guided on that swing. Now, let that picture carry you into tomorrow. Let that truth settle into your choices. Let that worth shape how you walk, talk, think, and act and see yourself. Because again, you have always mattered. You have always been good enough. And lean in, listen to this. You are and have always been worthy. And as always, I want you to remember, it's never too late to transform your life on purpose. And I'll catch you in the next episode. Oh, by the way, if something in you shifted while listening to this and resonated with you, stay with it. Don't rush past it. Give yourself the benefit of the doubt, because being seen is only the beginning. There's a highly emotional moment that comes in the next conversation that we have when you finally recognize yourself again. But It's going to lead you to lay awake at night wondering, God, come on, God. What do I do with my life now that I have this information? How am I supposed to live this information out? So that's not a question that you ignore. That's a question that you're going to have to follow. And that's exactly where we're going in the next conversation.